Is it even worth unpacking? Maray eyed the concrete columns longingly. With everything they had gone through in the past weeks, the apartment in Vienna, the Vienna of the world she'd grown up in, looked suddenly like a friendly sanctuary. She hadn't touched the moving boxes that were still sitting in the spare room. Ever since her adventure in Allinan, a parallel world full of magic and danger, where she was royalty and not the unnoticeable Maray Johnson she'd been for 16 years, Maray doubted that her temporary peace would remain. Every trip to the grocery store was accompanied by her father's nervous glares over his shoulder. Even when she took the trash down, her parents were reluctant to let her go alone. Her mother was sitting across the table, hands on a cup of coffee, and gray hair braided down over her shoulder, Gerwin next to her, holding her hand, eyes sparkling like an infatuated teenager. Maray smiled to herself, family reunited after 5 years. "We should keep this place," Laura suggested, gaze grazing the high ceiling and the bare wires that were attached to light bulbs, where Maray and her father had failed to install lamps yet. "I may have to return to take Rhia's place, but you—"
"I don't feel comfortable leaving you alone over there, and besides, we wouldn't be safe here anymore," Gerwin objected, and threw Maray an anxious look. "We need to leave Vienna, whether we keep paying rent here or not." He squeezed Laura's hand. "Besides, I couldn't live with myself if Rhia returned to Allinan, and I wasn't there to protect you."
Maray shrank into her chair at the thought. No one should be alone when they faced Rhia. After she had escaped in the dungeons, they didn't know whether or not the evil grandmother had survived or dissolved into a heap of disintegrating flesh. That image was never going to leave Maray's mind. "Are you all right?" Laura reached out for her hand and squeezed it. Maray didn't flinch. By now she'd become accustomed to her mother's presence. She was able to look at her without thinking of the tubes that had been stuck into Laura when they had found her in the dungeons. She had gained a bit of weight, just enough to make her look less like a corpse, and more like the mother she remembered, except for the gray hair. Maray nodded. "I agree." She glanced at her father. "We should all go together. I just got you back."
"We don't know who we can trust in the palace," her father agreed supportively. "Not Unterly, that's for sure."
Maray remembered hearing about Unterly, but she had never seen the Queen's counselor in person. All she knew was that he was one of the 3 advisors who had seen Queen Rhia's face in the past 20 or so years. "I don't know about Scott either," Maray replied, adding the commander of the guard to the list. "Even though he helped you get out of the palace, we don't know if he'll change his mind the way Langley did." She thought of the former ambassador whose position her father had taken over. He had helped her, but then turned on her when he learned about the strength of her magic. She still shuddered at the thought of Langley, who occasionally turned into one of those giant wolf bears that were native to Allinan. Laura gave her a sharp look. Maray remembered those from her childhood, from when she had disappointed her mother. She glanced out the window instead. The sky was full of gray clouds, the default for that season in this city. Maray had learned. Looking at them, she could as well have been in Allinan. There was no difference. "Langley used to be my trusted advisor," Laura said with an edge to her voice. "Before he almost killed Gemmin and Heck," Maray reminded her. "When he was after me." Maray's stomach gave a tiny flutter at the thought of Gemmin, the dutiful and incredibly handsome soldier who had annoyed her to death for the first couple of days of her initiation to Allinan, and then stolen her heart in the blink of an eye with his devotion and beautiful but well-concealed soul. His bright blue eyes might have had something to do with it, too. "For your magic," Laura assumed, oblivious to Maray's momentary mental absence. Maray blinked out of her daydream of Gemmin and returned to their original conversation. "That's what Corey said." Maray remembered the dark silken-skinned warlock girl's face when she had told her exactly what had happened with her magic, that she had burned Gemmin's cheeks. She had left out how her hands had ended up on Gemmin's cheeks, though, knowing that Corey had once been in love with Gemmin. Potentially still was. Made her cautious to share too much detail about that night.